Welcome to another episode of Raw in a Flash. I'm Carmela Soleil of the Sonora Kitchen. Today we'll be featuring another recipe that can be prepared quickly, that is super healthy, that is raw, and that uses a minimum of appliances. So let's get going. The recipe we're going to do today is a pad thai. So you know about the traditional pad thai that is usually made with peanuts, and unfortunately a lot of people are allergic to those. And not to mention that it's cooked. So if you're on the raw path, then it's not an option anymore. But the recipe we'll be doing today is actually using almonds instead of peanuts. So I think we've got everything ready. The first thing we'll do is do our sauce. So again, today I'm using the Omni blender, a 3 horsepower blender that is super affordable compared to other comparable machines, $250 plus shipping. It's got a 7-year warranty. It's a sturdy machine. It's got the electronic control, similar to the Blendtec, a square container, bigger than the one that comes with Blendtec, so more of an 8-cup container. And you can find out a lot more details about it, and actually some videos as well other videos that I've done with the Omni on my blog. You got the link showing at the bottom of the screen. So the Omni blender, and yeah, we'll work on our sauce. So I'm going to start off with the almond butter. So you can find some really yummy, creamy raw almond butters on the market. So whatever almond butter you prefer. You could also use part almond butter and tahini if you wanted. It gives a slightly different flavor. I prefer the just almond butter based one. Let's see. A little messy. Alrighty, and then some lime juice, some wheat-free tamari, a little bit of sweetener to balance the flavors. I'm using soft dates, some freshly grated ginger, garlic cloves. I'm not bothering to tell you the exact ingredients, the amounts, because you can find that out on my blog where I've got the recipe, and I have a link at the bottom of this video. Some salt, and then for spiciness, some heat, I'm using red pepper flakes. You could of course use fresh jalapeno if you prefer. I know we're not too spicy type people. We like to keep it on the low heat side, so whatever works for you. And let's see, we got, oh yeah, the coconut oil. So we're using coconut oil to help thicken it a little bit. It's already been melted. And the last thing, we're going to add some water. So I'm going to be using a little less than half a cup, and then see how that consistency, what it looks like. And then I can always add a bit more if I'd rather have something a little thinner. Alright, I think that's it. I'm going to blend that up. With the Omni, you can kind of do it manually with the low, medium, and high buttons, but you can also go with predetermined seconds, so 35, 60, or 90 seconds. I think I'm going to go with the 35 and see, it will probably do the job. I didn't even use a whole 35 seconds, so since it's almond butter, it's already, there wasn't that much breakdown other than the dates. So let's just see, everything is looking mighty good in there. I'm going to do the taste test, which is always a good idea. Nice. I'm not going to need to use any more water than this. It's, you know, I'm liking the consistency that it has already. So I'm going to leave that at that. And I'm just going to clean up my space a little bit, and then I'm going to meet you again for the assembly of the dish. Alright, so we're back with the assembly of the pad thai dish. I've already prepared all my veggies just for sake of moving on quickly. But basically what I've done is some zucchini and some daikon noodles. In a previous video I've already told you about the Ben Reiner Cook Helper. So this is the little gadget that I prefer for making noodles with. If you look at the link, I think it's showing at the bottom of the screen, and you can see a bit more what I'm saying about the Ben Reiner and why I prefer it to other types of spiralizers. Okay, so I'm just gonna dump everything in the bowl here. So zucchini noodles, and we generally like to cut them up just a little bit so that it's easier to handle. Some daikon, some carrots that we julienned, actually that done julienne I should say, some red pepper, some lovely snow peas from our garden. You can also use snap peas if you prefer, so basically any type of edible peas. Some green onions. What's going to give it a really great, awesome, fresh flavor. Some fresh cilantro and basil that we cut into thin slivers, so I'm just going to add that to the dish. And just make sure to keep at least a few pieces of cilantro aside, the cilantro leaves, because then you can decorate the final, the finished dish with it. And I guess that's it for the ingredients. So I'm just going to pour some sauce on top. So I'm figuring that this is about, I don't know, for 2 to 4 people, depending on whether it's a main course or just a side dish. And it's always a good idea maybe to use a bit less sauce, you know, depending on how saucy you like it. You can always, it's easier to add than to take away afterwards. And then just toss everything really well. Actually, I can tell right away that I'm going to need more sauce. I think it looks like I'm pretty right on for the amount of sauce versus the veggies, so there's a good chance you'll be using the whole thing. So marinating veggies is a technique that we use a great deal because it basically changes the texture, and it's as though it cooks the veggies without having to expose it to any type of heat. So a marinade, usually anything that's got some salt and some sometimes acidity, some oil, that's going to affect the veggies, help them soften up. So in this case, I'm mixing them directly with the sauce. So what's going to happen, the sauce is going to start marinating the veggies. So I could serve the dish right away, but what I'd suggest is to give it at least 15 minutes. So that the veggies, the flavors will marry better, and then you'll have, you know, just a dish that's slightly more appealing because it will be, the veggies will have softened up. So okay, now for plating, as you might have noticed on a lot of my pictures, I use wooden plates and bowls because it's just, we basically eat out of wood all the time now. It's a nice feel, different feel. Alright, so just make a nice little mound of noodles. Okay. And then because we always, as as I like to say, we eat with our eyes first, so if something looks pretty, chances are we're going to appreciate it better. It's going to taste even better as well. So what I'm going to do just as a finishing touch, I'm going to take some almonds that I've cut roughly, so just throw that on top of the dish. And then some cilantro, which unfortunately looks a little tired by now. A little fresh cilantro leaf on top. That looks pretty good. Here, so there's a super dish for the Thai food lovers that wish to eat a little healthier. The wonderful thing with raw food is that everything is so vibrant. You can see the colors, it's just beautiful, and the flavors will be super vibrant and just exploding in your mouth. So a raw pad thai that is prepared, I would say, in maybe 20 minutes once you add all the chopping. Again, you were with Carmela Soleil of the Sunny Raw Kitchen. This was an episode of Raw in a Flash. You can find the recipe and other recipes on my blog, The Sunny Raw Kitchen. And I hope you have a great rest of the day.